Yo, my friends, coming in with another important side mission. Are you ready? Why are you motivated to do a thing? Are you motivated by self-love? Are you motivated by hate, self-hate? So really the point of this video is to invite you to first identify potentially areas of your life where you're actually motivated by self-hate. Toxic shame is another way to say that. I've mentioned this before, I don't recall which video, it's probably multiple at this stage, of the difference between being negatively motivated and positively motivated, as well as a difference between intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. So they're not the same thing, they're different. In this video, the difference between being motivated by self-hate, we could say that fits under the category of negative motivation, because if you're motivated by self-hate, often it's because you want to avoid pain, right? You want to avoid the pain of being shamed by someone, maybe, or of yourself. You want to move away from the pain of rejection, right? So negative motivation, moving away from a thing. And then being motivated by self-love, we could say that that's being more positively motivated, which, because generally speaking, you're moving toward a thing. You're moving towards an action because it's coming from a self-generated space of, good intention. And like the difference between being negatively motivated with perfectionism is like, I am striving for excellence because I want to move away from the fear of rejection. I want to move away from the fear of being criticized, judged, belittled, right? Or being positively motivated by being positively motivated to strive for excellence is because I genuinely want to fulfill my potential, and it really gratifies me to do good work and knowing that I've invested my heart and soul in it, right? I haven't just half-assed it, right? So stop being motivated by self-hate. This is easy for me to say, though trust me, it comes with a foundation of having experienced being unconsciously motivated by self-hate, to the extent that no matter what I did, no matter how good externally it seemed I was doing the thing, golden child, hello, it wasn't actually, generally speaking, motivated from a real place of self-love. And I'm not saying this that it's black and white, that it's either self-love or self-hate. This is a spectrum. There are many shades of gray. Where does self-love start and self-hate end, right? How do you distinguish those things? So of course, it's relative. What could be an act of self-love for me could be an act of self-hate for you, right? So no black and white thinking. Refer to my video, Let Go of Black and White Thinking, where I go into that with a different kind of example. So that's not what we're doing here. But being motivated by self-hate, you could be motivated to heal because you're in self-hate, right? You're not good enough, never good enough. You need to heal because you're sub-communicating to yourself that you're toxic. You disgusting creature, you're so toxic, you need to heal. And you're not going to be loved if you're not healed, right? This is the subconscious chatter. You could be motivated by self-hate to get fit, right? So many self-judgmental criticisms of you're too fat, you're too weak, all these other people are so much more hot than you, pathetic, right? I'm kind of exaggerating here, but honestly, the chit-chatter of the inner realm ain't pretty all the time. If you've experienced that, emoji down there, any emoji, I don't even care. But you feel me, right? You could be motivated by self-hate to learn, right? Maybe you went through the education system and already that was a challenge for you. And you were conditioned to believe that your interests were fluff. It was just a hobby. And so then you enter into the next phase of the classic education system. Everybody goes to uni, you do the uni thing, and then you invest 6 years studying medicine, only to realize that you were motivated to do that because you denied yourself and you judged yourself for your interest in music, for example, or you were even told by your parents that that is a waste of time and you'll never succeed. And so you subcommunicate to yourself that I'm not good enough. What I want as I am is not enough. Boom, seeds of self-hate, right? You could be motivated by self-hate to be in a relationship, right? Because you've been told that if you are single, if you're alone, you failed as a human, right? You're undesirable, okay? You could be motivated by self-hate to have sex, right? You know, you're actually not ready, or you're not into this person, but the society, the culture, your friends, everyone's doing it. So you don't love yourself enough to actually maintain those boundaries. So you do the thing anyway. Any domain, you can be motivated by self-hate. And you could also be motivated by self-love. And just because in one area of life you feel more motivated by self-hate, it doesn't mean other areas of your life you're also motivated by self-hate. And remember, there are spectrums and variations of gray, like in between the so-called self-hate and self-love. Like it's not so distinct, but there are qualities which are quite obvious signs of if you are motivated by the so-called self-hate and the so-called self-love. That's what I mentioned kind of before, of like being negatively motivated, self-hate motivated, right? You're moving away from something, you want to avoid something. So that's a sign. Being motivated by self-hate, you could also feel that the decisions you make feel like you're putting shackles on, right? There's a contraction, there's a fear response, there's a fear doom spiral response. There's just this sense of, ooh, with decisions or with activities that, you know, you feel motivated to do. You feel like there's this, I have to do this, I should, I must, right? And so there's a underlying victimized state here, which therefore means that there's an externalized persecutor, okay? And heck, maybe even that persecutor is also you, okay, towards your own self. So there are a few examples of some signs that you're motivated by self-hate. Not an extensive list, all right, but just some examples. And on the other side of the coin, we've got being motivated by self-love, and a sign that you're motivated by a sense of actual leaning into something because you genuinely want to, from the true you, not the conditioned you, which of course takes work to discover who that truly is, work of a lifetime, but of course it's all relative. Where you are now is different to where you were 5 years ago or a day ago. So with self-love, decisions and what you move towards feel, generally speaking, like the shackles off. Okay, there's not this sense of like dread and anxiety that comes with every decision. There isn't this sense of like, I have to, otherwise I'm not good enough. I have to, otherwise I've failed, right? And being motivated by self-love in and of itself is a beautiful foundation, but it also doesn't end there, okay? Because motivation in and of itself is kind of empty, so to speak. Alone, motivation is a force. It's something that kind of like a cardinal action. It's just like, boom, okay? It's energy, it's momentum, it's motivation, right? You know that feeling of when you're motivated, it's like, boom, okay, here we are, let's go. So alone, motivation doesn't necessarily mean that it's coming from a good place. That's essentially what I'm saying. Hence the point of this video, right? Just because you're motivated doesn't mean you're motivated for the quote unquote right reasons, okay? In order for that motivation to be sustainable, right? Because negative motivation ain't sustainable. It will for sure motivate you because it's a form of motivation, But for how long? It will be like that, right? However, the positive motivation normally is, right, you got some plateaus, but here we go, it's all right. It's not so dramatic like a yo-yo. It's more sustainable because it's coming from a foundation that can orient you in challenge, that can orient you when things don't go your way. Because you're coming from the right place, things don't affect you like they would if you were coming from a more negatively self-hate place. Challenge that arises inevitably if you're in a self-hate motivated space will add to that toxic loop cloud haze of self-hate, which then makes this giant wolf, like it makes the wolf really giant, okay? And so that actually will make the situation fester a little bit more. And then it might even reach a point where there's a massive ego kickback. Like if something quote unquote wrong happens, a challenge arises, that's exactly the situation that will even show you how or why you're motivated by, or what you're motivated by. So for example, you are motivated to, oh my God, I use this example all the time because it's really easy to refer to. You're motivated to get fit and you've signed up for the gym. Okay, but let's say you're motivated because you are in a sort of self-hate judgment spiral and you're motivated by a fear of judgment from people in your friendship circle because you're a little bit like weaker than they are or fatter than they are or whatever, less beautiful, like whatever it is, okay? And so you're motivated to keep up with them, to compete with them, right? To move away from the pain of being judged as not strong enough, not pretty enough, whatever it is. When a challenge comes your way of like, I don't know, maybe you go super hard at the gym because you're just like erratically motivated and it needs to happen now, you injure yourself. And from a self-hate space, this adds to your story that you're not enough. This adds to the reasons why you should continue hating yourself, why you should continue comparing yourself to those ones, right? Other side of the coin, it's kind of like this. Let's say you've signed up for the gym and you're coming from a place of self-love, okay? You want to go to the gym because you are so in love with this life. You want to make sure that you are here for the long run, that you are your most best, vital, healthy self. And so this is a gift that you are giving yourself in order to thrive, not just survive. So you go to the gym, right? From that foundation, it's unlikely that it's going to be an erratic freak out. But using the same example, let's say you still injure yourself. It's unlikely that from that place of self-love, this will lead to some kind of self-hate spiral. From a place of self-love, it's more likely that this will actually bring even more compassion to yourself, and it will teach you that, oh, this is another opportunity where I also get to love myself. This is an opportunity for learning. Oh, I learned that, moving my body in this way actually isn't conducive to the way that I'm structured, right? So, yeah, I could go on more into that example, but I feel like that illustrates it enough. Point is, in order for motivation to not be dirty, impure, or empty, we bring the force into the form of motivation, let's say, in a way that's actually going to be sustainable by shifting from being motivated from self-hate into self-love, knowing that there are many shades of gray in between, right? It's relative. So you've got to learn for you what is actually a self-destructive behavior and what is not. And it needs a sense of like love and passion, I could do 10 years of martial arts because I feel motivated to do that, but it will be sort of like, yeah, cool, I'll just do the moves or whatever. But when there's passion in there, I'm showing up with a genuine sense of curiosity. I'm witnessing how the lessons that I'm learning in the dojo are actually relevant to my everyday life. Like there's an openness to receive. There's an openness to learn. There's a sense of awe, and not awe in a like stargazy kind of way, but like, here I am. And from the space of love, you're entering a frequency sort of bandwidth, which in and of itself is more akin to truth. So you can see the shadows of the martial arts, right? You can see where it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but you're okay with that because you see it as it is. That's love. So you come to the thing with more of a sense of passion and love, right? You're genuinely interested in the thing, acknowledging that some days will be harder than others. All good, we know that. And discipline. Long-term transformation requires consistency. Go check out my video, Cultivate Consistency, which is essentially saying discipline. Discipline to put the thing in your timetable for the week so it actually has the space and it doesn't just get filled with something else, like sitting in front of your easel because you've decided that you want to cultivate your creativity through the medium of paint, let's say. Or if that's not it, you've decided you want to learn the guitar. So in order for that to actually happen, so it's not just wishful thinking, right? You put that goal down and then you put that in your calendar and you lay it out. You actually show up for the thing. I'm pretty sure that's also part of Cultivate Consistency. So either way, just go check that video out. That's going to be useful for the topic of discipline. So to summarize that, motivation alone is empty. You could be motivated by something that's kind of toxic, or you could be motivated by something that's constructive and sustainable. In order for that motivation to not just be a shallow, hollow shell of toxic shame, nourish the motivation, give it fuel so that it sustains itself by feeding it with a sense of passion, of love, of genuine interest, right? Of positive motivation, something that you want to move towards that is self-generated, let's say. It's not dependent upon external validation. And anchor it in so with discipline, with consistency, so it can build, so that there can be growth. Make sense? Okay. So I'll leave it there for now. If this is resonating for you, let me know. If this is not resonating for you, let me know. All good. If you don't even want to let me know, then don't let me know. No stress. But yeah, I truly hope that this video could be a catalyst of curiosity to just take a moment to go within and acknowledge, like, you just pick one area of your life, for example, be it creativity, be it relationships, be it work, be it health. Just pick one and ask yourself the question, what motivates me in this domain of my life? What motivates me to be healthy, for example? What motivates me to show up for my work? What motivates me to be creative? Just that question, open-ended, and see what comes through. If you're someone who needs to speak that out and just hear yourself speaking so you get the feedback loop, do that. If you're someone who really needs to see it because you're a visual learner, do that. But either way, just give yourself the gift of asking that question, because you might be surprised actually that where you didn't question why you were motivated to do a thing, you might actually learn something. You might realize something that you weren't expecting. So, yay! It's all good. It's all good content. That's why we're here, right? And if you find out that you're here for a reason that's governed by self-hate, all good. Just because you were motivated by self-hate in an area doesn't mean you can't transmute that to self-love, baby. Ain't that black and white, remember? So you can do that transmutation work purely by first being aware of what's here and now. Acknowledge reality as it is in order to make changes if you feel that that's necessary and that's something that you actually want. Woo! Okay. Give this video a like for me if this is something that you want to see more of. Support this channel so you can see more of the goodness that will be coming. And yeah, may we love ourselves truly.